Imagine a world where you have complete control over your finances. A world where the end of the month bills are no longer a nightmare, unexpected events turn into stepping stones for success, and your dreams stop being distant wishes and become achievable goals. Now, the most incredible thing that this world is not far from you. It's closer than you think, and it all comes down to one thing: habits. Yes, habits. The secret to true prosperity isn't in the hands of the government, the economy, or luck. It lies in the small decisions you make every day, the choices that often go unnoticed. What most people don't realize is that financial prosperity isn't some unsolvable mystery or something reserved for a few. It's a science, an equation with three key elements: discipline, wisdom, and intentional action. In this video, we're going to dive into 5 powerful habits that, according to the Bible, have the power to transform your financial life. But these habits aren't just money tactics. They are universal principles applicable to anyone, anywhere, regardless of where you're starting from. Are you ready to finally take control of your life and redefine your financial reality? If the answer is yes, get ready, because we're about to embark on a journey that will change the way you view success. Let's go together. Have you ever wondered what sets apart those who thrive financially from those who, despite working hard, always seem to fall behind? This question has echoed throughout the ages, and many try to answer it by pointing to external factors. Oh, it's because so-and-so was born into a rich family, it's because he got lucky at work, or the system is unfair. While these factors can influence, they don't determine your financial destiny. According to a recent study by UL Flux, 89% of multimillionaires built their fortunes from scratch. This means that most people who achieved true prosperity didn't start with a large inheritance or sudden luck. They built it step by step, brick by brick. And surprisingly, many of them follow ancient principles that can be found in the Holy Scriptures. Now, the most important question: what are you doing today that can transform your financial life tomorrow? Are you following the habits that can lead to prosperity, or are you repeating patterns that lead to stagnation? By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to completely change your trajectory, but like everything in life, it's up to you to put them into practice. Let's start with one of the most powerful and yet often overlooked habits: living below your means. In a culture that promotes endless consumption, it's easy to get lost in the sea of temptations. Society encourages us to spend more, to show our success through material goods, to live a life that looks successful but is often built on debt. The truth, however, is simple. Those who live below their means have the power to create a solid and stable future. The concept is as old as humanity. Remember the story of Joseph in Egypt? During the 7 years of abundance, he was wise enough to save part of the resources, knowing that years of scarcity were coming. And when those years came, those who were prepared thrived, while those who weren't succumbed to the crisis. The Bible gives us this clear and powerful example. In Proverbs 21 verse 20 we read, "In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a foolish man devours all he has." This verse could not be more relevant today. How many times have you seen people around you spending everything they earn without thinking about tomorrow? Or perhaps you've fallen into that trap yourself. Living below your means isn't about deprivation, it's about preparation. When you save a portion of what you earn, you're creating a financial cushion that will allow you to face unexpected challenges and seize opportunities that come your way. You won't just be surviving, you'll be preparing to thrive, even in tough times. Now think, how many times have you missed out on opportunities because you didn't have financial reserves? How many times did you have to pass on an investment, a trip, or even a course because you spent all your money on things that, in the end, weren't essential? Most people do this. The good news is, with a simple adjustment, you can completely change your future. Here's the secret. It doesn't matter how much you earn. What really makes a difference is how much you save. Even people with high salaries can drown in debt if they don't learn to live below their means. And on the other hand, people with modest incomes can build fortunes if they adopt this habit. How do you start living below your means? First, take an honest look at your finances. Write down your expenses and see where you can cut back. Is it really necessary to spend so much on entertainment, clothing, or eating out? With small changes, you can start accumulating a significant reserve over time. And once you start seeing the results, you'll be motivated to keep going. The second habit that the Bible teaches us is to have multiple streams of income. In a time when many people rely on a single paycheck to sustain their lives, this idea might seem challenging, but the truth is that depending on one source of income is one of the biggest financial risks you can take. Think about it. What if that income source disappears? What if you lose your job? What if your company faces financial difficulties? What would happen to you and your family? Ecclesiastes 11 verse 6 gives us valuable advice. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. This verse teaches us not to put all our eggs in one basket. If you diversify your income streams, you'll protect yourself from unforeseen events. Imagine you have a stable job but also invest in real estate, run a small online business, or offer consulting services in your area of expertise. If something goes wrong in one of these areas, you still have other sources to sustain your financial life. And here's the key point. We're not talking about a theoretical or distant concept. Today, thanks to the internet and globalization, it has never been easier to create multiple income streams. You can start small in your spare time and grow over time. The important thing is not to rely solely on one source of income. Also, think about how creating multiple income streams can accelerate your financial growth. If in addition to your steady job, you start generating income from a blog, YouTube videos, or stock investments, for example, you'll have more capital to reinvest, creating a cycle of continuous growth. But how do you take the first step? Start by identifying your passions and skills. What do you do well that can be monetized? Maybe you have a talent for writing, teaching, or creating art. Maybe you're an expert in a particular subject and can sell online courses. The possibilities are endless, and the best part, you don't have to quit your current job to start. Create a secondary income stream in your spare time and see how it can completely transform your financial life. This is where an emergency fund comes into play. An emergency fund is more than just a pile of money. It's a safety net that protects you and your family from life's uncertainties. An emergency fund is your first line of defense against financial crises. When you have money set aside for emergencies, you can face the unexpected with calm and control without resorting to loans, credit cards, or favors. This not only keeps you from going into debt, but also allows you to take advantage of opportunities that would otherwise pass you by. Take the biblical example of Egypt, where Joseph, guided by divine wisdom, created a large reserve of food during the years of abundance. When famine came, Egypt not only survived but prospered in the midst of the crisis. This lesson applies perfectly to finances. When you set aside part of what you earn during times of plenty, you're preparing to prosper during tough times. The Bible talks about the importance of being prepared for the unexpected in Ecclesiastes 9:11. I've seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise or wealth to the brilliant or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. In other words, unforeseen events happen to all of us. No matter how well prepared you are, how faithful or how diligent you are in your work, adversities will come. The real question is, how will you face these adversities when they arrive? If you have an emergency fund, you'll be ready to handle challenges without compromising your quality of life. If not, you could find yourself in a desperate situation, having to make hasty and harmful financial decisions. But an emergency fund isn't just for times of crisis. It can also be a driver of opportunity. Imagine you're cruising through life, living comfortably with your savings, and suddenly a business opportunity arises, something that could completely transform your financial life. If you have an emergency fund, you can seize that opportunity without hesitation. Otherwise, you'll be left on the sidelines, watching others thrive. How do you build an emergency fund? Start small, but start now. Ideally, your emergency fund should cover 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. This might seem daunting at first, but remember, you don't need to do it overnight. Each month, set aside a reasonable portion of your salary and put it in a separate account that isn't easily accessible. Many people think, oh, but if I save that much, how will I enjoy life now? This is a common mistake. Having an emergency fund isn't about deprivation, it's about security and freedom. When you know you have a reserve, you can live more lightly without the constant fear of what might happen tomorrow. Plus, you'll gain peace of mind, knowing you're prepared for whatever life throws your way. The fourth habit the Bible teaches us about prosperity is investing. If you've ever wondered how some people manage to accumulate great wealth while others struggle to get by, the answer often lies here. The wealthy don't just work for money, they make money work for them. Let's clarify something from the start. Investing isn't a privilege reserved for millionaires. On the contrary, it's the strategy that allows ordinary people to become wealthy. The Bible teaches this clearly in the parable of the talents, found in Matthew 25:14-30. In this parable, a master entrusts part of his wealth to 3 servants. 2 of them invest what they received and manage to multiply their resources. The third, however, buries his talent out of fear of losing it and is ultimately reprimanded for his lack of action. The message is clear. God gives us resources and expects us to multiply them. This applies to our talents, our time, and yes, our money. When you invest, you're putting your resources to work for you. Instead of just saving money and watching it lose value over time, you allow it to grow and generate more wealth over the years. But where do you start? The first thing you need to understand is that there are different types of investments, and each has its own characteristics. Fixed income, stocks, real estate funds, startups. The options are vast, and the ideal is to study each of them to discover what makes the most sense for your financial reality and your goals. If you've never invested before, it might seem a bit intimidating at first. The fear of losing money is natural, but the truth is that over time, the biggest risk is not investing. If you simply save your money, it will be eroded by inflation. But if you learn to invest wisely, you can see your wealth grow consistently. And here's something important. Investing isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. The results won't come overnight, but over time, you'll see the power of compound interest working in your favor. It's like planting a seed. At first, you don't see much difference, but over the years, it becomes a fruit-bearing tree that will continue to produce. What does the Bible say about investments? Besides the parable of the talents, another important biblical teaching is found in Ecclesiastes 11:2, which says, "Divide your portion to 7 or even to 8, for you do not know what disaster may befall the land." This verse warns us of the importance of diversification. Instead of putting all your money into one investment, spread it across multiple options. That way, if something goes wrong with one investment, you'll have others that can make up for the losses. Finally, we come to the last and perhaps the most important of all habits, seeking wisdom. The Bible is clear in stating that wisdom is more valuable than gold and silver. Proverbs 3:13-14 says, "Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold." But what is wisdom really? Wisdom is more than knowledge. Wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge effectively. Many people know what they need to do to improve their financial lives, but few actually put it into practice. Wisdom is knowing to save, invest, and live below your means, but also having the discipline to follow through on those principles. Wisdom helps us make smarter, more strategic decisions. For example, you may know that investing is important, but wisdom will guide you to choose the right investments. You may know that living below your means is essential, but wisdom will help you avoid unnecessary spending and build a solid financial life. How do you acquire wisdom? The good news is that wisdom isn't a gift reserved for a privileged few. We can all seek wisdom, and the Bible encourages us to do so continuously. In Proverbs 4:7 we read, "The beginning of wisdom is this, get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding. The pursuit of wisdom is ongoing." It's not something you achieve once and for all. Every day, with every decision, we have the opportunity to learn, grow, and apply what we've learned. Whether through reading books, attending seminars, listening to podcasts, or simply observing and learning from the people around us, there's always something new to learn. But financial wisdom goes beyond technical knowledge. It also involves humility, patience, and faith. In Proverbs 19:20, we're advised, "Listen to advice and accept instruction that you may gain wisdom in the future." This means we must be open to learning from others, especially those who have already walked the path we're on. Throughout this video, we've explored 5 powerful habits that, according to the Bible, can completely transform your financial life. Living below your means, having multiple streams of income, building an emergency fund, investing wisely, and continuously seeking knowledge. These habits aren't shortcuts or magic formulas to get rich overnight. They require discipline, patience, and consistent action. But if you follow these principles, you can see a radical transformation in your financial life. Not just financially, but also in terms of peace of mind, security, and opportunity. Now, the power is in your hands. You have the knowledge to change your life, but what will you do with it? Remember, knowledge without action is useless. It's the application of principles that brings results. If you enjoyed this content and want to keep learning more about how to transform your life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell to receive all updates. Also, leave your questions and suggestions in the comments. I'd love to know how I can continue helping you on your journey. And lastly, never stop seeking wisdom. As Proverbs 16:16 says, how much better to get wisdom than gold, to get insight rather than silver. May God bless your journey toward prosperity. See you next time.